You walk through gold-covered doors into the most amazing palace in all of Christianity. The marble floors under your feet shine like mirrors, showing the dancing flames of 1,000 candles that cast their golden light across walls decorated with priceless wall hangings from the east. The soft sound of silk dresses whispers promises of endless wealth and power as court ladies glide past like ghostly spirits. Their jeweled fingers trail across surfaces worth more than entire kingdoms. The air shimmers with an almost magical quality, thick with the weight of centuries, heavy with the smell of roses and amber, alive with the electricity of total power. This is it, you think. This is the fairy tale made real. The storybook come to life. You breathe deeply, ready to fill your lungs with the essence of royal greatness. And then it hits you. That smell. Sweet clinging perfume desperately trying to hide something far more human. Your eyes begin to water slightly as the reality behind the fantasy seeps into your mind like poison through silk. This is not the clean fairy tale of Disney movies or romantic period dramas. This is the real world of medieval and Renaissance royalty, where beneath those jeweled crowns and magnificent robes lurked hygiene practices that would make a modern person double over and throw up. The woman coming toward you in layers of golden fabric, her sleeves dripping with pearls the size of robin's eggs, might rule an empire that spans continents, but she hasn't properly bathed in months. The gentleman bowing before her with such perfect courtly grace controls the fate of nations, commands armies that could level cities. Yet his unwashed body harbors enough lice to populate a small village. The lady-in-waiting, looking away so politely while trying not to breathe through her nose because the queen's breath could kill a horse at 20 paces. Welcome to the real royal court, where power was absolute but soap was optional. Where divine right meant never having to say you're sorry about your body odor, and where the phrase, cleanliness is next to godliness, was considered not just wrong but dangerously heretical. You've just stepped into a world where the most powerful women on earth lived in conditions of personal filth that would horrify a modern homeless shelter, where beauty routines literally poisoned the beautiful, and where the pursuit of royal elegance created walking monuments to human suffering that staggers the imagination. The monthly bath ritual. It's 1580 and you're a servant in Queen Elizabeth I's court. Dawn breaks over Greenwich Palace as you receive the most dreaded assignment in all of England, preparing Her Majesty's monthly bath. Yes, monthly. The most powerful woman in the known world with treasure chests that could buy nations barely bathed once a month. Medical experts considered even this frequency dangerously excessive. Elizabeth layered Venetian ceruse, a lead-based skin whitener, daily without removing previous applications. As you help the queen undress, the magnitude becomes clear. Her face is a patchwork of cracked, flaking white paint built up into actual layers. When she steps into water, it immediately turns murky as months of accumulated cosmetics, sweat and grime dissolve away. The lead-based makeup peels off in sheets like paint flaking from old buildings. The smell rising from that tub defied description. Metallic tang of lead mixed with vinegar-based cosmetics layered over months-old human secretions. All warming to create a smell assault that could drop a grown man. You must stand attending your queen while your stomach churns and eyes water, watching dead skin come away in gray flakes mixed with white lead residue and brown stains of accumulated grime. The lead face paint nightmare. Each morning brought fresh poison painted over old poison, creating an ever-thickening mask of toxicity. The queen's morning routine was a ritual of slow suicide. Ladies in waiting approached with fresh mixture of vinegar, water, and white lead, but they didn't wash off old layers first. Water and washing were considered dangerous. Instead, they painted fresh poison over old, creating masks that grew heavier with each passing day. The lead seeped through skin day after day, year after year, causing mood swings, memory problems, and erratic behavior. Courtiers noted how her temper became volatile, how she forgot conversations mid-sentence. They attributed it to ruling pressures, never realizing their queen was poisoning herself for pale perfection. Lead poisoning causes paranoia, memory loss, and sudden rages that courtiers witnessed but couldn't understand. This wasn't vanity. It was addiction. The lead provided a temporary sense of perfection, a ghostly power that represented divine purity in an age obsessed with pale skin. But like any addiction, tolerance built up. What started as light applications became thick masks. The queens became prisoners of their own pursuit of beauty, slowly dying for an impossible standard. The Great Lice Epidemic. King James I was said to never bathe, causing the rooms he frequented to be filled with lice. This wasn't just a personal problem. It was a palace-wide infestation that turned the highest levels of government into a crawling nightmare where power meetings became exercises in not scratching. James barely changed his clothes for months, even sleeping in them. His hat remained on his head 7 days a week until it literally fell apart. Every fiber became a breeding ground for parasites. The royal chambers must have looked like horror movie sets. Dark corners thick with insects, furniture that literally moved with writhing masses of lice, and constant scratching echoing through halls of power. Women's elaborate hairstyles became perfect breeding grounds. Hair was combed, curled, greased with bear or ox fat, and then dusted with powder. With no bathing and poor hygiene, fleas lived on every head. Fashionable women carried long, thin sticks with claws for scratching their heads. Towering hair constructions held together with animal fat provided warm, moist environments perfect for insect reproduction. The Versailles catastrophe. The ultimate horror story comes from Louis XIV's Versailles, where over 10,000 people lived in the palace and surrounding lodgings. Despite its reputation for magnificence, life at Versailles was no cleaner than slum conditions. Women pulled up their skirts to urinate where they stood, while men urinated off balustrades in the middle of the royal chapel. Picture walking through the most famous palace in the world during its glory days. Golden walls gleaming in candlelight, priceless artwork adorning every surface, mirrors reflecting infinite images of luxury and power. But your feet splash through puddles of urine that soak into imported carpets worth fortunes. The constant sound of trickling liquid echoes through corridors as courtiers relieve themselves wherever they happen to be standing. According to historians, Marie Antoinette was once hit by human waste being thrown out a window as she walked through an interior courtyard. This wasn't a freak accident. This was normal at Versailles, where throwing waste out windows was standard practice because there was nowhere else for it to go. The smell throughout the palace must have been indescribable. With 10,000 people producing waste every day, and only primitive sewage systems that frequently backed up or overflowed, the air would have been thick with the stench of human excrement, unwashed bodies, rotting food, infected wounds, and whatever perfumes people used to try to mask the horror. As we step back from these horrifying glimpses into royal life, one truth becomes undeniable. The fairy tale of clean, beautiful royalty is just that, a fairy tale. These were human beings trapped in biological nightmares of their own making, where vanity, tradition, and social pressure combined to create living conditions that would qualify as torture by any modern standard. They maintained composure, ruled nations, and shaped history while literally crawling with parasites and slowly poisoning themselves with their own beauty routines.